Hey everybody, thank you for joining me. Today I want to talk to you about what is probably the weirdest accessory you can get for the Quest 2 or any other VR headset, and that is a pistol stock. Now I first laughed, as do most people, when they see one of these pop up on their social feeds. They're a really odd idea because why does it matter if your controller looks like a gun when you can't even see it when you're wearing your headset? Let me illustrate my point. I've got a full gun stock here. This is the Mammoth Apto 2.0. Now, it doesn't look anything like a rifle, but when you're playing in VR, it feels like you're holding a rifle because it's rigid and it keeps your controllers lined up perfectly. So there's a lot of advantages to using this in a multiplayer game. Having them lined up perfectly means that you've always got your rifle set up correctly to take a shot quickly. Over to the pistol stocks, and in theory, well, they can't really add much, can they? Because you don't need to line up that controller. It's just one controller. So I had pretty much written these off. They weren't on my shopping list, to say the least. But then the company AMVR reached out to me and said, would I be interested in receiving one to test it out? And they attached a few reasons why I might be interested. Now, my interest was piqued because none of the points listed had anything to do with appearance, and that's what I thought the main reason for using one would be. Instead, they leaned on the things like the added weight, making it feel like you're holding a full pistol. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. Let's give it a go and see if there is actually anything to be gained from it. Well, it arrived to me earlier today. It came in this pretty simple packaging. AMVR VR game accessories for Q2 controller. Pretty simple. The stocks themselves come in three pieces. You've got two relatively lightweight sections and one weighted section that forms the center of the barrel. It was really easy to assemble. I appreciated some of the design decisions, like being able to pull the cord through the bottom so you can then put it through your hand like you would with the standard controller, ensuring you've still got that safeguard. And I'll be honest, it does feel quite different. There's a nice curve to the grip that feels really comfortable in your hand and does feel like a sort of classic pistol grip. The weighting on the barrel is quite reasonable, and when you actually hold it out, it does feel like you're pointing something rather than just aiming your controller. So the positives are that it does add to immersion because it does feel like you're holding a controller. It does also make games a little bit more challenging because the added weight can be a little bit tiring, particularly in fast-paced games. I think it's a really good fit for games like Pistol Whips, where you're always using those sort of standard pistols. I tried out a few games and I had a decent time. And just because they send two doesn't mean you need to use two. So for games like Half-Life Alyx, where you're always going to be using that main gun in your one hand, I opted to just use one and then save the second controller as a standard setup. I feel like that works pretty well. When you do have both of them in play at the same time, it still is possible to use your second hand to support your main shooting hand if that's how you prefer to play. That's how I often prefer to play, and I don't think it particularly got in the way. That being said, one of the major downsides of this is that although it will be compatible with most games because it's not really bringing anything extra to the table, the little tips at the end can get in the way for things like manual reloads, particularly if you're needing to use a rifle or anything like that. It meant when I was playing games like After the Fall, it was quite clear I should be playing with the simple version of the reload, where you kind of eject your magazines and tap it on your chest. The units themselves aren't particularly expensive. I think they're around the sort of £20, $20 mark. I will put a link in the description if you want to go and check them out. I'd say they feel relatively well built, though I will add that one of mine has a slight little bit of rattle to it that the other one doesn't. I feel like I could probably get rid of that if I played with the screws and just get them a little tight, and that's probably what it is, but I haven't done that yet, so I can't be sure. That is it for today. If you've enjoyed this video, do me a favour, press the like button. If you want to see more content like this in the future, then a sub to the channel would be awesome. I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.